Yay, because I have an update to the letter I'm going to call the baby naming fiasco. If you're on TikTok and you want to hear the original letter, click there. If not, stay with me. I have all the deets. So anyways, this woman writes me. She's in her last trimester of pregnancy. She's a problem because the daughter-in-law is going at it with the mother-in-law, and her husband is not liking it either because her mother-in-law wants the baby that's in a tummy, that's a boy, to be named after her brother who recently passed. The big issue here is that the brother was not what I would call an upstanding gentleman. No, he spent most of his adult life incarcerated for a variety of some quite heinous crimes, and in fact passed away while he was in prison. And the mother-in-law, like full court press, oh, his name has to live on, you have to do it. And they're like, no, no, no. So the woman writes me, goes, we're supposed to go to my in-laws for Christmas and I don't want to put up with this. What can I do? My suggestion, and pretty much everyone in the comments, was you need to do a FaceTime, whatever. You and your husband get with the mother-in-law and go, look, if you mention the name anytime during our visit, we're booking it out of there. We're leaving. They did that. She said it went great. Her mother-in-law was so kind, so understanding, promised, apologized. They had high hopes. So they get there, December 23rd. Bunch of relatives are there. They have a dinner, talk about the baby. No one mentions the baby's names. They're like high-fiving each other, okay? That couple, we did it, we did it. Everyone leaves except a collection of what she calls the ancient relatives, mostly female. And you know what happens? Basically a naming intervention. All the old people gang up on him. It was like a senior citizen posse saying his name has to live on. You can't, you need to honor the family by doing this. She said because a lot of these relatives were so old, they didn't feel like they could be rude or leave. And, it's not like you can run out, trip over a wheelchair or something. They couldn't do it. They had to be respectful to the great aunts and all that kind of stuff. So they did that. Just listened, and then they walked to the room they were staying, packed their bags, and left. The parting words of the mother-in-law were, but aren't you going to let me be there when the baby's born? Absolutely no comment from them. That happened December 23rd. They have not spoken or communicated with the mother-in-law since. And she says, I'm not talking to her at all until after the baby is born and, the name is on the birth certificate. It is the end of that topic of discussion. But yay for the couple, being a team on this. And the mother-in-law, good Lord, honey, pick your battles. It's asking way too much of a couple. If you're not the parents of the baby, I kind of feel like you have zero, nada, say in what that baby's name is. So there's that.